Well, as the show continues on now this morning, I'm happy to be in the offices of the Shelton School District Superintendent, Wyeth. Jessee, how you doing?
Good morning, Jeff. How are you doing?
I am good. It's good to talk with you and excited to kind of start these up again and have a more regular schedule to talk with you about the things that are happening in the Shelton School District. We're going to air these kind of in between your meetings so people will have a chance to understand what happened at the last one. We can talk about that and then prepare folks for the next school board meeting.
Sure, that's no problem.
6 months in, huh?
Yep, 6 months in. Loving it here in Shelton, Mason County. It's been a great actual journey despite this horrible pandemic.
Sure.
But this is a special community. I think really we came together. I think that just shows the closeness of this community by saying, hey, what do we want to prioritize? We sent a survey out and said we want to do in-person services, keep our kids safe, keep the education going, have my kid come to school. And we've been working hard on that. That's been our kind of goal for the year, to be honest with you, in addition to some things that we've been building out that I'm sure we'll get to. But we've been doing, I think, a fabulous job. I just want to really thank a lot of our educators, our staff, our classified staff, our bus drivers, nutrition workers, our school leaders. It's just been an amazing journey because we haven't shut a school down.
That's great. I was just going to ask you about that and how the different schools in the district have been navigating this COVID crisis. Let's start first here in the district office and then we'll move out. Overall, the health and safety of everybody here has been good and moving out to the schools?
Yeah, it's been good and up until this last variant, Omicron, hit the central office pretty hard, Jeff. Right off the bat, I had 8 people out.
Wow.
Coming back from the holiday break. So we've been, the whole month of January, we were significantly short-staffed. We've been short-staffed since I've come on board. We had a number of positions. We just haven't hired over the pandemic. As you know, it's the great resignation. Really hard to fill positions with high-quality people, and that's the only kind of people we're going to hire here. So anyway, it's been a little bit tough here at central office, but people are coming back, and so we're almost fully staffed again. And Omicron ripped through central office and the rest of this community.
Thankfully, for the most part, unless there were waivers filled out, I would assume most of the people here are vaccinated and boosted and gone through all that.
That's right. So either you're vaccinated or you have an accommodation. And so everybody ran its course. And yeah, so we're just doing, business as usual, with obviously, I think it's 91 or 92% of the staff are fully vaccinated.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then let's talk about the schools. Let's start at the elementary level and move up. You said nothing has been shut down yet? That's great.
No shutdown. We, since all the way from the start of the school year, we had we've had to close some classrooms, either because we had a couple students test positive, and when we have those situations, we had taken a proactive stance here in the Shelton School District, which is if we thought that a couple of students had it or a teacher and a student had it, it was better to just close it, do our case tracking, continue to find out where it was coming from. Almost in every situation, it really wasn't being transmitted in the school. It came from usually a family member or a friend's, extended sense of the community outside of the school. But we want to stop it, right? And so that allowed us to stop it, get everybody tested, do the case tracking like I mentioned. We always put some schoolwork out, and then the kids come right back. Usually we were catching weekends, which was nice, Jeff. So then they were gone for usually only a couple days of school and then come back. There were a few situations where the staff were sick too, and we just couldn't managed to staff a room, and so we had to close down for same kind of deal for a couple days and come back. We never have done anything extended, gone for a single classroom, and we've never closed a school or even come close to it.
With kind of the increase in at-home testing, I know when I talked to Mason County Health Director Dave Wyndham, and we talk about this, if you're testing at home, it's kind of on you to self-report whether those results were positive or negative, especially if they were positive. Have you found any issues with that where people were not necessarily forthcoming with the information of a positive test and sending the kids to school, are you aware of? Or when a kid does show up at school, are there the visible symptoms then, and then you go through the checks there, or how does that work?
I think it's a great question that you have there, Jeff. And you're also coming from Mason County Public Health, Dave, providing you with that information. When we're talking about public health, we're relying on everybody to do their part.
Yeah.
So it's been like that the entire pandemic. Hey, are you staying home if you're not feeling well? Well, did you send your kid to school if they're not feeling well? Are they displaying any symptoms? We're always at the mercy of people to take care of themselves and do their part so that this particular virus doesn't spread any more than it needs to. Did you wear your mask? Did you wear your mask appropriately?
Right.
And did you stay home long enough? And so it's always been like that, and so I just think that's finally maybe resonating with a few more people. I'm hoping that if you do your part and I do my part, things go a lot better. And so that's, again, why I think the Shelton School District's in a unique situation. We've worked really hard. Might have been annoying sometimes, some of those weekly reminders that we send out. But it's working so far, because if you want to meet your goal of having in-person services for obviously a high majority of the students and for the staff to come in, you got to do your thing. It could be tomorrow that some bunch of people get together for a high-risk event and not wear a mask and extended time together. That puts us at risk, because if that situation would bleed right into the school district.
How are the school board meetings? I know there's been some contentious ones over the last few months. Has that settled down? What are some of the main issues that the vocal majority at these school board meetings bring up?
Well, the school board meetings have been pretty quiet.
Okay.
Ever since the mandate all the way back in October, it's been very, very, very quiet.
Okay.
People have just been doing, I don't know what to say. I guess my own particular view is people got their head down and trying to do their day-to-day work and carry their own lives, and I think there's a slight pall over the world right now, and not a whole lot of things that are feeling terribly upbeat. And so when you have to wear a mask like this, and cuts down on some of the socialization, and it's just super annoying. It's just you just don't get really quite used to it. But we've been putting our head down. The school board's been fabulous. We got 3 new board directors on. They've been very well engaged, asking questions. So the board meetings have been going well. People have been asking things that are related to our strategic plan, and some of the other things obviously related to COVID.
How's the Med Academy coming along at the high school?
It's going great. We were just talking about that yesterday. We're really looking at having a celebration for the Med Academy. It's being used for classes. The problem is, like supply lines, we have some doors that are still on back order to really complete it, and so we're really waiting for those doors to show up and get them installed. They're quite heavy duty doors. They're not like they're truly fabricated. And so we're just waiting for those to show up, and then we can have a big celebration. We're already looking to put that out to May. It just seems like it's just a better time.
Sure.
And then hopefully some of these mandates kind of lessen, and then it can be truly a big event.
Yeah.
Where we're spread out maybe and not having to wear a mask, and make it magical, because it's being used. It's great. It's part of our academies that are going really well.
The sprint is on to June.
That's right.
What would you like to see accomplished for the district by the end of June with graduation rates or attendance rates, or just keeping the classrooms open?
Well, it starts right there. It really does start with keeping the classrooms open. I can't tackle graduation or attendance or moving students forward at the rate we need to if I'm not having students in person. Remote learning is highly compromised. It really is hard for a lot of learners, especially our younger students, because developmentally their attention spans aren't meant to be set with, 6 hours of activities connected to a computer and not having maybe necessarily the movement, the kinesthetic stuff that some of those kids need. And plus they're social creatures. So and we're paying the cost for it. We've had some number of behavioral incidences. A lot of kids have expressed needs for not just like counseling and mental health support, but also just basic needs. There's still a number of families here in Mason County that I think are struggling with just heat and shelter, and so just food. And so we just know that we're just trying to get them some of those things as well. But anyway, what I didn't give you those, where we want to go is in-person services.
Yeah.
Yes, but also in particular, I want to wrap up and get the strategic plan put in place, because that'll help us with all the learning loss. It's a real plan, multi-year, and getting to some things that we need to get to.
Yeah, we talked about that a couple months ago. How is that plan coming along?
It's going great. There's so many things going on with it. We have a strategic plan steering committee. It's made up of stakeholders. We have business leaders on it, family members, parents. We also have staff that are part of the committee. About 15 of them have been working hard about putting this together. What's our mission? What's our vision? What's our beliefs? Belief statements, and then what's our priorities? So they've been doing that. We have a planning team also in the district, about how these particular details work out. It's every week we're really working hard on it. It's ultimately shaped from the surveys and the focus groups we've been doing. We've done, the survey got 570 people. That was great. And then also our focus groups with students and business leaders and back out there with families has yielded some real consistent. So we've kind of identified 4 priorities that we're looking at.
Good. Back to when you were talking about some of the needs of the students in the district, heat and things like that. Were you familiar with all those demographics when you came to Shelton? Was that kind of an eye-opener to you on some of the consistent needs that are not being met by the community?
It's not a surprise. I've lived and I've worked with a lot of communities that, qualify for free and reduced lunch, have specific needs, whether that was when I was upstate New York or when lived from Walla Walla. There's plenty of need, even in Seattle. There's a high needs. I worked at a Title I school. And so, those needs, wherever you're located, they're there. And I don't think people see necessarily all of exactly how profound the needs are.
Yeah.
We know that if we put food out, it will be gone. And that's consistent.
Sure.
That just kind of shows you where it's at. I think the challenge is moving forward is around the mental health supports. I think the hangover from the pandemic is going to be long. It's not going to be a 6 months and, hey, kids are getting back to normal. I think there's going to be a lot of things that go on for multiple years that we're going to have to work to address, and we're not quite set up for that.
Are there this probably then just answered that, but are you available, or is there services available for students to get youth counseling, but then also have a parental component too for some maybe family conversations?
Yeah, so we're a school district, right? And so the one thing about us, and people say, oh, you can solve a lot of things. We can do a lot, and we do a lot. We have our Family Resource Center. We even have washer and dryers, as we heard at the board meeting. Families come in, get all sorts of needs and supports for basic things. And we have school counselors. But after that, school counselor is not a clinician.
Right.
Right. And so those are different things that can get picked up hopefully through the community. We're looking at some of those things. And what can we do further to support them? Because if we're not taking care of the whole child, then we're back to, are we able to really educate the student? If you're sitting there, as I like to say, way back when I was a principal, I go, a lot of these kids are tired. A lot of these behavioral instances come from kids that aren't sleeping. Maybe they doubled up, sleeping on the couch, a lot of turnover, a lot of things going on in their house. They're tired. And it's hard to be your best self when you're tired. And I also said, if you got a sore tooth, I go, how much you didn't be thinking about math?
Sure.
Not a whole lot. And so, those are just all those kind of things that, we just signed on again to get free dental care so that goes around. I'm like, yeah, I've got to make it happen. Pandemic or not, those needs are real. And so we just want to make sure here in the Shelton School District that, we provide all of our services, and then we are connected more so with all of the community agencies. And I think that's something that people will see as part of the work here for the district moving forward in our strategic plan.
SheltonSchools.org is the website you can go to learn about all of this and find information on the upcoming calendars for the school board meetings. And if anybody has any questions for Superintendent Jessee here, send them to me at jeff@kmas.com, and I'll ask them here for sure. Otherwise, you are encouraged to participate in those board meetings when they come about. They make impactful decisions on your students' lives in the school district. So we'll continue to update folks with that. It's good to see you.
Great seeing you, Jeff.
I look forward to keep doing these.
Let's get back on track.
For sure.
All right.